In this podcast, you are going to learn how to make a chart and graph of a slope field for a differential equation, and you will also be taught how to solve a differential equation. Slope fields are a tool to graphically obtain the solutions to a first-order differential equation. A differential equation is a mathematical equation that relates some functions of one or more variables with its derivatives.
The equation dy dx equals 2y is going to be filled in on this table here. So we're going to plug in the values on the left side. -2 is -4. Plug in -1 and it will be -2. Plug in 0 and 0. Plug in 1 and it's 2. Plug in 2 and it's 4. So now that we found out the values for dy dx and we filled in the table here, we're going to put the slope value to the appropriate x and y coordinate. So -4 looks like this, and then -2, it's a little less steep, looks like this. 0, straight line. 2 is a positive slope, looks like that. And then 4 is a little more steep, and it looks like that. Now the graph is kind of similar to the table, so that the values are the same across. And so I filled that in 3 here. Now we got to sketch the curve that intersects at point 0, 1. So we go up to the point 0, 1, which is right there. And we kind of draw the line and following the slope lines we made earlier. And it looks kind of like this.
Okay, so we're going to solve this differential equation. The differential equation is dy over dx equals sine of x. The first step in solving this equation will be to get dy alone. To get dy alone, you're going to multiply both sides by dx. After doing this step, this will get you dy equals sine of x dx. Now, to get back to the original function, you're going to have to take the integral of dy. However, if you're going to take the integral of one side of the equation, you have to take the integral of both sides, which means that you're going to have to take the integral of sine of x dx. This will mean that the integral of dy equals the integral of sine of x dx. Now, after taking the integral of dy, you'll be left with y. And after taking the integral of sine of x, you'll be left with negative cosine of x. And since you are taking the integral of dx, you're going to have a constant. And with this constant, you're going to add it on. Okay, so now that you have the equation y equals negative cosine of x plus c, you're going to find the original equation with the point pi 3. This means that the y value, 3, equals negative cosine of the x value, which in this case is pi, plus c. In this, you'll be finding the c value. Now you have 3 equals negative cosine of pi, which equals 1, plus c. Now, to get c alone, you're going to subtract 1 on both sides. This leaves you with 2 equals c. Okay, so with the equation y equals negative cosine of x plus c, you now have the c value, which equals 2. So you can plug it in, which leaves you with the original equation of y equals negative cosine of x plus 2. We are going to graph a slope field for this differential equation. By plugging in the values from this chart, you'll be given the slopes. For -3, it will be -6. For -2, it'll be -4. For -1, it'll be -2. For 0, it'll be 0. For 1, it will be 2. For 2, it will be 4. And for 3, it will be 6. These values will stay the same down the column, seeing as there are no y values in the differential equation. Next, we are going to plot the slopes with their associating coordinates. For the coordinates -3, 2, the slope is -6. Now, following the rows, the next slope would be -4, -2, 0, 2, 4, and 6. The slope values on the graph are similar down the columns just like in the chart. Next, you're going to sketch a line that goes to the point -1, 2. By starting at the point -1, 2 and following the slope lines, you will create a curve that looks similar to this.
Now we're going to find the original equation that passes through the point -1, 2. To do this, we're going to look at the differential equation above, dy dx equals 2x, and multiply dx on both sides. After this, you'll get dy equals 2x dx. After that, you have to take the integral of it, and you do that on both sides. And that gets you y equals x squared plus c. Now after this, you're going to want to find out the c value, and to do this you plug in -1 for x and 2 for y. So that would be 2 equals -1 squared plus c. Now we use some simple math to find out what c is. -1 squared is 1, and you subtract that from the 2, which gets you 1 equals c. Now that we've found c, we can plug it into the original equation, which is y equals x squared plus 1.